tonight I want to talk to you about zombies.
Yeah.
It's the season of zombies right now.
It's super zombie season, and what a great time of year for you to release your book too.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean that was part one. Like even before it got accepted, my editor was like, "We've penciled it in Halloween 2020." Little did they know
it was going to be the scariest year.
Scariest Halloween yet. Scariest Halloween. Yeah. But pardon me. That's just an asthmatic cough. That's not, I don't have the virus. But
yeah, and you're not gonna, it's not like a 28 days later cough.
No. Okay. I didn't like look up and then get blood in my eye. That happens a lot faster.
I'm always worried about birds pooping on me.
Oh yeah. The Resident Evil zombie birds. That poop's contagious. Well, that kind of brings up an interesting thing. We're talking about different types of zombies there, and I'm wondering, from your perspective, what's the worst kind of zombie that we could possibly encounter in a zombie apocalypse? What's the worst enemy we could come up with? Because you got your T virus, you got your rage zombies, you got your classic zombies, you got your Last of Us cordyceps zombies, or black magic White Walker magic zombies. I don't know.
Yeah. There are lots of examples of undead in various pop culture. I think the worst would probably be Wesker, because he intentionally becomes one of these things. Like, he knows, right? Mm-hmm. He's got to know that it's not going to end well, and he, injects himself with the T virus, and it seems like an ongoing theme with him. Like, he doesn't just die. He'll just come back and be something even more horrible. But like, I think for me, video games have always been a very personal experience, because you live the life of the character that you're playing as, right? And so you feel like personally offended by things that are happening, and it's easier to be scared, for me anyway, in a video game than it is to be scared by a movie. Although plenty of movies scare me. I'm not saying that movies are not scary. They're terrifying, but I end up like getting like way more emotionally invested if it's horror happening to a character that I'm in direct control of. Because like in a movie, you can be like, no, run, don't open that. And in the game, you can be like, I don't know if I should open this, but the game really wants me to open it. So after having endured all of the monstrosities in, let's say, Resident Evil 4, it's my favorite of the series.
Good choice.
Like there's crazy shit happening all throughout the game. Like you think, okay, it's going to be a little bit calm now, and then like something even more ridiculous than what you previously experienced comes along, and then you see Wesker, and it's like, well, everyone else has become like this really gross thing, and then he still does it. Mm-hmm. And actually, I think even Krauser in the game, it's been a long time since I played it. I've played through multiple times, but he's disgusting too. So I think video game zombies, specifically Resident Evil zombies, are the scariest because they just don't care. Like they know that bad stuff will happen to them, but they also don't care because it's just an ends to justify their means,
Yeah, that's a really great point.
a means to justify their ends.
Yeah. They the thing that I love about that is that Resident Evil zombies particularly, because like if you go back to the very first game, at least at the very beginning, and this is true in Resident Evils 1, 2, and 3, the first zombies you encounter are your classic zombies, and then as each game progresses, they get weirder and weirder, and then there's like a giant crocodile at one point, and then when you're in 4, and it's not a virus anymore, it's a parasite, the Las Plagas, all of the rules are out the door, because like, the zombie lore is, destroy the head, but you destroy the head, and then giant tentacle comes out that's even more dangerous, and
with like a blade on the end.
And you also made a really good point there too with Wesker, is that in the Resident Evil universe, zombies maintain at least some of, if not all of, their intelligence, or they can perhaps even become smarter and more powerful when they become zombies, if they're important enough to the plot, I suppose. Wesker being part of that. But yeah, I think that's a really good point. I'm wondering, in a zombie apocalypse scenario, have you ever considered, I feel like you have, but have you ever considered what skills you bring to a zombie apocalypse party?
Anxiety for one. Let's see. Practical skills. I'm pretty fast in short bursts.
Mm-hmm.
So I can, like, if an item was, I'm saying item, I'm still like in a very video game mindset, but something was like close to a zombie, but we needed that thing, I would have the guts to go run and get it and come back. Like, that's a thing I would do for the survival of the group. I also am pretty decent at cooking. So I can make some nice meals. Nothing too fancy. It is the zombie apocalypse after all, and supplies are limited. But I can do what I can with what we find. And I am good at hugging, so I would be nice to be around. And I'm just very reassuring. I can be like, listen, I know zombies just ate your friend's face, but it's going to be okay. I mean, you still have your face, and let's look at the bright side of things.
Mm-hmm.
So I think emotional support is what I bring to the table.
I like that, because that's not something you often hear about. You don't usually get that character, unless, I guess, there's like the stereotypical like single pregnant woman
Right.
who eventually has the zombie baby and can't care for, goes crazy and stuff like that. But that's great, because I like that long-term thinking, because you do have to cook. And you have to make do with either, I guess, like a hot plate on a generator or a campfire.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right about the emotional support. I mean, if we're learning anything about a viral pandemic, which is what zombies are as well, it's like what we really need in these trying times is somebody to tell us that we still have a face,
Yeah, and just fostering a sense of community too. I know that there's obviously a contingent of people known as preppers who essentially have apocalypse blue balls, as I like to call it, and they're doing whatever they can to make sure that they and their families will, be okay. People have built bunkers. They've got food that comes in plastic barrels. And also guns. Let's not forget that. Guns, ammo, all sorts of weapons. But really, what I think would make a difference is like, so, okay, those people would hunker down and be on their own for as long as they can. And then presumably at some point, maybe their food runs out, or someone, essentially can't emotionally take it anymore, and they snap, and then they venture out into the wasteland, and try messing things up for other people. I'm more of the mindset where you want to have a sense of community, well-being, also having everyone have a specific role, something that one can do as an individual that would not only help them feel good, but also contribute to the well-being of the group. So, basically, I guess more of a like a cult type of mindset, where it's like everyone has. Sounds weird to say that, but I think that kind of mentality, being a pioneer in that sense, and having like a smaller group of people that you all take care of, but don't resort to violence against others. If someone comes along, you help them as well. That kind of thing.
Yeah. I'm loving this optimistic zombie apocalypse, because I agree with you. I think that that's the only way to do it. And the preppers, as we even see it in the fiction, it's like they're an enemy when you encounter them. they'll be like, oh yeah, I've got some rations, come on in, it's made of people.
Yeah.
Meet my kids, and they're just like some skeletons on the ground or something like that, and they're like, we've been talking this whole time. But you do need to maintain that social thing, because we're social. That's what separates us from the zombies. The zombies are not social. They clump together, they seem social, but if you listen to their conversations, it's just a bunch of moaning.
Yeah, and they're really in it just for themselves too.
That's true.
So the zombies, I don't think they want to share the meat with other zombies.
Yeah. I imagine, I always wonder about that horde thing, because the zombies never attack each other. And so I guess they just either don't sense each other, or they're like, oh no, that's bad meat, I don't want that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, you know, they smell so bad, even they won't eat themselves.
That's, yeah. Well, I mean, that's also a good point. It's like, well, if they loved flesh so much, and they're made of flesh, there's got to be something in there that prevents them from eating themselves, because that's just not a virus that works.
You ever feel so hungry that you could just like maybe take a little bite out of your arm? You're like,
gosh, I've been hungry, but I haven't been that hungry.
That is something I don't know I'd be able to do, is to like put someone out of their misery. Because it's something that we see in a lot of zombie stories. You know, there's a point where there's a character who, you know, has just come to a point where they realize that this is it for them, and they don't want to become what they've been fighting. So I mean, I think there is a certain amount of heroicism involved in like helping someone do that, but I don't know if I'd be able to.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's sort of that was a real conversation I had with my friend. I changed her name to Gwen in the essay, and yeah, it kind of came down to, I mean, like, I guess it's really tough. It's a really tough thing, because she was asking me if I would kill her after she became a zombie. But then you also have the situations where it's like somebody's bit and they don't want to become it, like you were describing. It's like, I don't know if I could. That's a tough hypothetical. And then you do have the situation from the essay as well, which is like, if it's at the very beginning of the zombie apocalypse and there's still plausible deniability, then you just murdered somebody,
right?
So that's an issue. But yeah, that would be really, really, really tough. I like to think I'd be able to do it. I do, but these conversations are always hypothetical. I like to think I'd be able to help somebody out.
I hope that they always remain hypothetical.
Me too, because we're honestly, Shaun, we're one step away. It's just like one small mutation, or like breaking of a law of nature. Yeah. Do you think you could do it? Do you think you could do that if somebody, like, let's say you and I were, you know, I remember one time, this was before I actually formally met you, but we were both at a Hemlock Grove event at the Shangri-La in Toronto. And if zombies happened there, and it was just the two of us, and we got to a safe place, and I got bit. And I was like, look, I'm feeling sick. Shaun, you don't know me yet. Can you please kill me? I don't want to become a zombie.
I'd be extremely weirded out. I think I'd be weirded out by the circumstances already. But I don't know if I'd be able to do it, to be honest. I would actually, I would leave. I would say, no, you're on your own, and I would go somewhere else. Or I would make you leave and be like, okay, well, see what you can do in the meantime. You know, like, you're going to become one. See how many you could take out.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. Put the heroism back on them and be like, look, you're not done yet.
Yeah, this ain't over, soldier. Get back out there. Alien, another zombie-ish kind of character, right? Like it's not it's not that it's undead, but it does a similar thing to people. Like it takes them and then spawns another one of its own.
Mechanically, it's the exact same. It's a little slower, but yeah, you're right. Like it takes one of, if you think of it like living humans versus the unhuman menace, whether it's zombies or anything. Both of them are taking people from our side and then turning them into monsters on this side. One xenomorph is enough though to deal with. I would actually, this is maybe a good question. Would you rather fight off 20 zombies or one xenomorph?
Probably 20 zombies, to be honest. Yeah, because xenomorphs are terrifying. Even in some of the goofier movies where they're not as terrifying, they're still terrifying.
Yeah, like, absolutely. Acid blood? No, thank you. Little mouth within the mouth? That's just creepy. It's not even all that dangerous, but scorpion tails, everything like that. Yeah.
And they're big too. And they're always fast. Like zombies, it's hit or miss. Like some of them may be fast, some of them could be trudging along, you know.
That's true. And again, this depends on what movie you're watching or what comic book you're reading, but they sometimes have a very strange level of intelligence that is kind of, you maybe underestimate how smart they are because they look animalistic, but they clearly have something going on up here.
Speaking of scary video games, have you played Alien Isolation?
I have. I got stuck. I didn't beat it. I got stuck. There's a part where all of these evil androids are coming at you, and I just couldn't get away from them. It was annoying because I loved hiding from the alien. I did not like that other aspect. Have you beaten it?
I've not beaten it. No, that game's too hard and also too scary. It's really scary. So Resident Evil is scary, but you go through and you explore despite how scary it is. But like one of the key mechanics in Alien Isolation is hiding from the alien. And when you hide from the alien, you can't really see what's going on. You just have to like rely on the sounds and like maybe a little slit somewhere. And then the alien always finds you because if you hide for too long, it'll find you.
Yeah, because it'll look everywhere. It also had this, I don't know if you played it on PlayStation. You probably did.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, if you hooked up a headset or a microphone to your controller, it could hear your noises, which I thought was a funny thing to do on purpose. It's like, I want to make this hard game even harder.
Yeah, and so something I always wondered about that game is because when I played it, I tried to kill the first android that I saw, and it put me at a great disadvantage because obviously it angered the robot, and also I used a lot of ammo for it, which is scarce enough in the game. But if I didn't do that, I wonder, like, would the robots be cool with me?
That's a good question. I have a feeling that they still would not be, and the only reason I say that is because I have a strong fan theory, or just, I guess this is just like my reading of Alien, is that Alien is very humanistic. The entire series is like, if you any human on human violence is done in the name of a corporation and not from a sense of humanity, and otherwise it's everybody just trying to stay alive together. That game forced me to kill other human beings as part of a plot point. And believe me, I try every game I play. I try to kill as few people as possible. That's why I didn't like The Last of Us 2. But yeah. So I have a feeling that those androids are gonna attack us no matter what. Wasting all our ammo, being mean, being bald and mean too, like in their like little red eyes. Ugh.
Yeah,
It
they're
kind of looked like
so creepy.
Lobot from
Oh my God. So two final thoughts. I'm so sorry that I keep bringing things up.
No, this is all great. I'm having
The
a great time just talking with you. This is
same,
great.
likewise. It's like the old days when we would hang out in
Wow.
person.
Yeah.
So I think my first exposure to zombie anything was the Thriller music video, which terrified me.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The transformation of it and the makeup is very, very scary. And
Yeah.
there's also something about I always thought there's something about uh the narrative structure of that music video that really made me think, because I would see it around Halloween when I was watching Much Music, or eventually Much More Music when they put Michael Jackson over there. But I'd be watching it and I'd be like, I thought this was a music video. What's going on here? And so I just didn't know what to expect. So there's that too. But yeah, what scared you about Thriller?
Just the fact that he's normal one moment and then the next he isn't, and it's like, what?
Is that
Like
maybe? Yeah.
as a child, I'm trying to put this together. I'm like 3-4 years old, right? Like this was utterly terrifying to me. And it's I believe at the end of the video for Beat It, there's a Thriller like stinger where he looks up at the camera and he's got the eyes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
and so I wasn't expecting it there, and then it comes up there again, and at that point in my life, I was convinced that Michael Jackson was actually just some monster creature who had eyes that can flip. Like he just had regular eyes and then he had monster eyes.
Right. Like Men in Black, double eyelids kind of
Yeah,
thing. Yeah.
exactly. Seth Green.
So, yeah, like Seth Green. Uh, that's oh man, I forgot about that. But yeah, I wonder, is that Michael Jackson transformation maybe the only jump scare in a music video? I can't think of one. I'm not an expert in MTV. But
Yeah, there are a lot of music videos from around that time that are just plain weird and creepy. Herbie Hancock's Rocket comes to mind.
okay.
You probably, I don't know if you've seen that video, but you're probably familiar with the song. It's a banger of a song, and the video is just really creepy. There's also a Grateful Dead music video where there's skeletons, and that scared me as well because skeletons are, Halloweeny. And I was just a
Absolutely.
child. I was scared of a lot of things.
Yeah. When I was a kid, this keeps coming up in my conversations around this time, just because I've been thinking about similar things, like my first encounters with being scared. And for me, it was Vigo the Carpathian from Ghostbusters 2 was the scariest thing. He gave
So
me night
scary.
terrors. Like I was worried I would be awake at night and I'd be like, or in my dream, I'd be awake in my bedroom and then his face would press through my wall and I would just scream and scream.
I honestly don't know why I liked Ghostbusters as a kid, because it scared me to watch. Like I couldn't deal with the library ghost
Oh
for one.
God. Yeah.
So I watched that movie with my family and like extended family, and when that happened, like everyone laughed, and I was like, that's not funny. It's like really disturbing because like the movie, I think what it is like if the movie had established that, even though it's like just the very beginning of the movie and that's the first scare, I had always just seen Ghostbusters as fun, proton packs, busting ghosts, and like Slimer. He's not really scary, but then like that thing happens.
Yeah. You just get you get your introduction through the real Ghostbusters cartoon, which also, by the way, is scary as hell. Like, it was on Netflix for a little while, and I rewatched some of it, and I was like, how did this not scare me? I was like, I guess it's maybe, you know, it's like, oh, you're heroes, you got your action figures, and so you go into that. But yeah, I mean, everybody is like, oh, Ghostbusters, it's so fun, but nobody tells you when you're a kid before you watch it that the scary parts are supposed to be funny.
Yeah.
Because that's a weird balance to try and make. Because like you watch that now, and it's very funny, in my opinion. Everything leading up to it is very funny. Ray's idea of like, I've got an idea, get her, is very hilarious. The way they scream is hilarious. The puppet that like goes rah is very funny. And
Yeah.
yet it's the gray librarian is still a creepy image. And so yeah, I don't know. People watching this, warn your kids.
There's some scary imagery, as the ratings board might call it.
Exactly, yeah. Just put it up there in the top corner.
Use of tobacco, scary imagery.
Exactly.
Potential buttocks display.
Potential.
Yeah.